I call it an education day. And
Right.
this is a day where it's like we're not finding the right home, more than likely. I mean, like it's happened that we have found the right home, but
Right.
typically we're not finding it. We're looking at styles, we're looking at layouts, we're looking at functionality for people, right? And I think that helps it put in perspective on what's going to be the best suit for them, because a lot of times everybody likes the idea of downsizing, but they might not feel that that lifestyle is right for them at this point. So
Right.
I find that education day, it goes along. It's fun as well.
Hi, I'm Gregg Bamford, and welcome to the Bamford and Co. podcast. I'm here again with my brother Ryan, and today we are talking about rightsizing. Rightsizing comes into effect when a lot of people are looking to move into, that next transition in life. But a lot of people aren't familiar with, the word rightsizing. And can you give a breakdown of why we use that word?
For sure. Well, the main thing is that a lot of people, I think, would be familiar with the term downsizing. But the reason why we use the term rightsizing is because a lot of people are actually adjusting. It's not just about the square footage. It's about the style of home and maybe the functionality of that's going to be best for them in the coming years, right? So, for example, we see a lot of people that are moving out of, say, 2,000, 2,200 square foot two-story homes, but then moving into, say, a 1,200 square foot walkout bungalow that's fully developed and actually gives you 2,400 square feet of living space. So when we say downsizing, it's not always that case, right? It's more about adjusting to the lifestyle that they're living today, and it's going to be, with them for the next, say 5 to 10 years or whatever that next step would be.
Yeah, you're totally right on that. I mean, for example, I think the example that Ryan just used was actually our parents. So 5 years ago, they moved out of a property that we'd been in there forever, and ever since, I guess, 1990. And it was a 2,100 square foot house, and they made that transition into a bungalow townhouse for longevity
For
of their
sure. Yeah.
life, right?
And also it's a little bit of a transition in, for them they needed a lot of work to be done to the property to bring it up to the current standards of what people that are looking for that style of home right now. So the question is that if they moved off and bought, the walkout bungalow, or they did the renovations and then we're still in a house that doesn't really fit their needs
Right. I
at
guess
the end of
that
the day.
comes into the next question, right? So is like, why do people move? Right. And we break it down into three. There's usually a lot of different reasons why people move. But one is, first of all, the upkeep to a property, right? As you mentioned, it's okay, the siding needs to be done. It needs new windows. You might need a new furnace, shingles. You're not going to invest all that money into a property when you're looking at selling it 5 years down the road, because you're probably not going to get that money back. So that's one of the big reasons. The other one, I think, is probably the biggest factor, is mobility. So it's a lot of times people are living in two stories. They're looking at maybe not moving around as good as they possibly could before. And then it's also, I guess, the upkeep on the exterior of the property, mowing grass and so forth. So their mobility kind of makes them, make a transition in life. And then I think the last one that is happening earlier than what we'd seen, a decade ago, was lifestyle. So a lot of these people aren't living into their homes till their 80s and their 90s like they were in the past. They're now looking to make this transition maybe in in their late 50s, early 60s. They might be having a property at the lake and then moving into something smaller here so they don't have double the work and so forth. So that right sizing and these three factors plays a massive role in, I guess, us helping our clients and many other people that are going through this, right? So,
For sure, and it takes some time to be able to find what that right property is for them. Just because I've seen a lot of people that we say downsizing, and they went from a two-story to a condo, and then next thing
yeah,
that lifestyle that they're looking for, and having a nice big beautiful yard, and then being in a small condo isn't necessarily maybe the step for them,
right,
right? So when it's different for everybody, and it doesn't mean that everybody's going to move from a two-story to a walkout bungalow. That was just a great example.
right,
But we do also see a lot of people that they have a tough time judging on where they want to be next. And, you know, like you said, lifestyle, maybe it's the lake, maybe they're going down south for a little bit, and
Right.
maybe they don't need a big place in Saskatoon, and they just want it to be able to be around their kids, right? So it depends on the client at the end of the day.
And at least what we've found with our clients is that we're helping them figure that out, right? It's helping them through the journey. So a lot of times it's going looking at bungalow townhouses, going looking at condos, going looking at, I mean, now the bungalow townhouses are just as expensive as bungalows. So those bungalows have now become a very hot commodity, especially in Briarwood, for example, just because they're a little bit newer, they're more updated. So now we work with our clients to walk them through all these different properties to let them figure out maybe what the next step is. And sometimes it takes some time. I mean, we've worked with clients for a couple months, and we've worked with clients for 2 to 3 years, right, to find them that right property, and also to help them understand, I guess, the price points, because that's one of the hurdles that's out there, right? So
It certainly is a large hurdle, is it, to know where their property sits compared to the new properties that they're looking at, right? And a lot of the times, like we were saying, is that there's still upkeep to be done, you know, on some of these older homes, or they think that it's great, but it's maybe not what the new consumer is looking for.
Right.
So, you know, it's about guidance, and then also, you know, when we go out and you're talking about seeing different properties, I call it an education day. And
Right.
this is a day where it's like we're not finding the right home, more than likely. I mean, like, it's happened that we have found the right home, but
Right.
typically we're not finding it. We're looking at styles, we're looking at layouts, we're looking at functionality for people, right? And I think that helps it put in perspective on what's going to be the best suit for them, because a lot of times everybody likes the idea of downsizing, but they might not feel that lifestyle is right for them at this point. So.
Right.
I find that education day, it goes along. It's fun as well. Clients, you know, there's some pros and cons, but that's what we're there to do, is that we're
Right.
there to educate them about what they need to be thinking about on their next stage of their life.
Well, that, and also the neighborhood. So, I mean, a lot of these people have lived in the same neighborhood for 20 to 30 years, and they don't even know what the other neighborhoods are like, right? So not only are they trying to figure out, do they want a condo, a townhouse, a single family bungalow? They're also looking at, okay, where are they? So, I mean, Wildwood's super popular. Heritage, there's lots there. Briarwood's now a huge area because a lot of the properties there are bungalows. Unfortunately, in the new neighborhoods, they're really, other than some townhouse developments, with the lots shrinking, there is no new bungalows going up, right?
Wow.
So that makes it a little bit harder to get into a new home that way, unless it's a massive expensive bungalow backing a park.
Yeah. Well, you're right, and it's also a lot of the reason behind no bungalows are being built is because of the cost to develop them. Is that with the land values the way they are, and then also the cost of materials, bungalows are the most expensive to build, and that's why we don't see many of them being built anymore.
Yeah, no, for sure. Another thing that we're looking at right now is that these properties that people have been living in for a long period of time, they're selling this 2,300 square foot house, and they're looking at to maximize their return. And back in the day, it was, I'm going to sell this house, I'm going to buy something smaller, I'm going to take $200,000 out of this so that I have for an investment and the rest of it. And now we've seen the cost of those bungalows and the townhouses increasing so much that sometimes they have to actually pay more than what the sale of their house is going to get them to move into this next transition. I mean, I do believe it's a great investment because it's supply and demand and everybody's looking for them, but the longer they wait, the more they'll go up. And those houses that are more dated, being the 2 stories, a lot of times they need major renovations, right? And so families that are going into them, if you're looking at our demographic, which is a lot of people that would be buying them just because of our age group, those people would be looking at, it might cost $70,000 to $250,000 to properly renovate them and to bring it up to today's standards. So there's a cost there, right? So it's just an interesting area that a lot of people are moving through, just because it is a lot of the baby boomers that are going through this, and younger people as well too.
For sure. I completely agree. I think that that's a great way to, you know, explain what rightsizing is, and how, you know, we can guide people through that process, and not just talk about, but take them out to actually see the properties, give them a full example of what to expect in that next stage in their life, and to see if it's going to fit for them. Because we've seen it work where people don't move into that condo and they don't like it, right? So
Yeah.
I think that is our job, to educate them and to understand about all the different scenarios that can come from this.
You're right on that. It's another thing that we help our clients do as well too, is that sometimes people are looking at moving a year from now, 2 years, 5 years from now, and they're looking at what can they start doing now to then help them with that move, and maybe where are they going. So this sometimes takes longer than what most people think. And when you've acquired things for 30 years and you've collected all your kids' stuff, they usually don't want it back. And so it takes time to be able to sort through that. So it's a journey, and we help our clients with that. So with that being said, that kind of explains a large part of our market right now. And it's interesting, once we've worked with families and we've helped their kids and so forth, I don't know if that's thunder or not, but they're helping with their family and their kids. A lot of times we get referrals to then help out their parents for the next step, right? And so it has become a larger part of what we've been helping families with. And so if you have any questions for the next steps for your life and where you might be able to transition to, we'd love to help you. Give Ryan or I a call, and then we can kind of give you the roadmap of the way that we see this working best that creates the less stress. So thanks a lot for joining us. I guess if your parents on social media, you can probably share this video with them. And thanks a lot for everything. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Greg.